there's just a listing of this thing. Let me tell you how to get to the site. Hold on.
All right. Map and download 395 towers in Mississippi.
All right, go to www.nhlr.org. www.NovemberHotelLimaRomeo.org.
Okay, then click on the blue Mississippi.
Click on the Mississippi.
Oh, and they got the flags on them.
That's right. And you can go up there and hit that positive button and spread them out. And you can just go around looking at them and reading about them, and they got some of them got extra photos of it.
Okay, then click on the blue Mississippi.
Click on the Mississippi.
Oh, and they got the flags on them.
Right.
All right, I'm looking at one up there around Glen. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Well, I'll be darned.
Yeah, the Glen Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've looked at it. I've looked at every one of them in Mississippi.
All right, how you see the picture of them?
All right, you click on the flag.
All right, hang on. Let me back up here. Hang on. Okay.
All right, then it says, visit this lookout down there in blue.
Oh, yeah. They made that with a drone.
Yeah, they did. Now go down there on that top line under the picture, see where it says photos.
Yeah. Well, I'll declare. How about that? Oh, the old house is there.
Yeah, isn't that neat?
Man, I mean.
And you can look at them in every state.
Well, that's all right, ain't it?
Some of those things are just beautiful sitting off right there.
Oh, I just like them. As many as we climbed, yeah, U.S. registered number, Mississippi registered number, all of it's there. That long, man, they got it all, ain't they? Date built unknown.
Yeah, most of them in Mississippi, that's what they've got. Date built unknown. But now if you click on one, you click on that flag and then click on visit that site, you see it's got lookout details and it tells you all about it. Tell who made the tower and what. A lot of them it says what size cab's on it and such as that.
Yeah, nominated by Jason Johns, Air Motor, so forth. Yeah.
Yeah, Jason Johns is the ones that made those pictures.
Oh, okay. That's pretty darn neat, ain't it?
It is. It really is neat.
How'd you stumble up on this?
Rob is the one that told me about it. K5TFD.
N5VGK.
K5RKL. There's a lot of them got those, like DB222s hung out there on the corner of that cab.
K5DAD. K5 if anybody cares.
They had a bunch of them DB224s, man.
N9JOF.
Hey, Jim.
K4WRF. There he is. Hey, Watt.
Hey, Watt.
Hey, Watt. Hey, Jim.
Hello, Wattster.
Good evening, Watt, and rest away around the table.
Hey, everybody.
Well, Watt, we want to hear about the noise, and I wasn't going to say nothing till you got to do the talking.
Oh, Lord, I have, yeah, I mean, we went up there today. I learned a lot. but yeah, we're talking about that. These meters, these smart meters, and it's not the RF that they put out, to communicate. It's the RF that the stupid little switching power supply puts out.
And that's in the meter, right?
Yeah, it's in the meter base, and you can measure it right around there. But here's the thing about it is, you go 25, 30 feet into the building, and you put the meter up next to the AC main that's coming in. Man, it's on everything that's in the distribution panel.
Wow.
And I was measuring it at that point because, I could measure it fairly easy right there, but it was, the high part of that noise was around 3.6 megahertz.
Well, they know that that's a problem. Are they switching those power supplies out?
No. They aren't switching out the power supplies. I don't think they know. I don't think the power company knows what to do with it. They deployed all of these things after all of these, they cleaned up everything out there on that part of the river after the tornado went through there earlier this year, and they replaced all of those old meters with these new smart meters.
I got one on my house.
Well, just about everybody's got one, but what? You were talking about the power company said the TVA was having a school.
Yeah, the fellow up here who went to Pickwick Electric, he couldn't be available this week because you had also said that a couple of the guys down there, were headed to a interference school up in I think Athens, Tennessee, or somewhere like that.
Yeah, they were going somewhere. They were calling them all in because this is a big problem.
Line noise is one problem, and they got a lot of line noise out there, but this other problem is something that just kind of slides under the radar, because you look for what those meters are putting out or communicating back to a base, up 800-900 megahertz or somewhere like that. That's not the problem. It's the stupid, cheap switching power supply.
Probably made in China.
That's all the stuff that's going on in these meters nowadays. They fired all their meter readers and sold all the vehicles that they used to use to go around and measure them, and so now they can collect all of that data off their SCADA system, so what happens, they saved a lot of money by doing all of this stuff, but they can turn your power on and off at your house. They don't have to come out there and pull the link fuse out anymore. All they have to do is disable it from wherever their control center is. They can turn your power on and off, and they can monitor if you even have power, if it's on or if it's off, or what the conditions are out there any time. So it's a real neat thing, but having to get all that stuff in that one little form factor, and these people that are out there that have that thing, they've dissected one of those meters, and they said, the little switching power supply is smaller than a wall wart.
And probably cheap as nothing.
Yeah, it can't have any filtering on it, bud.
I wonder why they just didn't go ahead and put a little small analog supply in there and been done with it.
What did you say it last night, or somebody said it, about how much noise mitigation is needed now, because it just seems like it's everywhere, and I think this is the root of it. They always had some.
Well, one of the problems that, Ron was talking about today that they told him is that they're having to, and I think you might have said this too, Chuck, but, they're having to go out and find these problems now because all of that line noise is interfering with the operation of their SCADA stuff, which is that system control and data acquisition system that they use. It goes back to their control center.
Now this thing's gonna wind up. The FCC's gonna get in it before it's over with, because it's going on all over the country.
Oh yeah, it is.
Y'all want some more noise?
What?
Y'all want some more noise? Here I am, KG5 PBG.
Are you oscillating and making noise?
I'm just making noise. That's all I ever do.
More noise, the better.
Good evening there, peanut butter and jelly.
Hello, Keith.
Hey, Keith.
I just hope it's a joyful noise. That's all I hope. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Hello, Keith.
Hello, Keith.
Hello, Keith.
N5 on it.
Hey, Robert.
Hello, Robert.
Hello, Robert.
Hello, Robert Bob. Hello, everybody. You feeling better?
Yeah, I'm feeling something better. Tell you what, that shot hurt.
Would you do it again?
Well, I got to do it in December.
Oh, okay.
What kind of shot was it? What was it, Robert?
Shingle shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've had mine. But yeah, I was a little sore after getting it.
You run any fever?
No, I never had no fever. I got my flu shot yesterday. My old arm's still a little sore today where they stuck me.
Well, I didn't take any Tylenol after I took the shot. I waited till later that evening, and I waited too long, but I was running 100.9.
Phone call. Be right back.
Come on back, Watt.
No, ain't there something about that noise?
It really is. I never thought about that.
Well, this guy up there in New Albany, you get up there, and it's just like you're standing in a sea of noise, and you can't find anywhere to go. TVA can't find it. Now I think this is where we're going to have to start looking.
You know, that's the way it was right here. But mine's all cleared up now. Do you think it was somebody's meter out here that was causing all that?
Well, I mean, it could still have problems with the arresters. We've seen that. Lights, we've seen that. Transformers. You got that, but that's been around for a while. But it's not. I mean, you just get to hearing so much out here lately. It's just everywhere you turn. For some of these places, you can't put your finger on anything, and I'm wondering if maybe that's what the deal is.
That may be Bobby's noise. It may be the meter in his house.
It could very well be. And, you don't know when they turn them on, when they turn them off, how they control them. We don't know any of that. But his, it seemed like to me, is related to time.
Temperature.
Could be.
That's what it's looking like. K5ICO, I noticed it would have been most of the day today, died out afternoon, and then as the temperature dropped back below 80, it started back up.
Okay. Have you got a blowtorch you take out there?
Man, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't have to resort to scorched earth.
Hey, Bobby.
Evening.
Oh, Mr. Bobby.
Be something Bobby called the power company out there about that meter, and he's done got it all smoked up with a torch.
Wouldn't that look good?
I'm telling you, K5TFD.
All smoked up in 5VGK.
K5VGK.
K4WRF. Burn it down.
Bobby.
Hey, now? Yeah.
The plastic would be all distorted and shrunk and falling in.
Yeah, he tells me something wrong with this meter.
They got our water meter that way.
I got to have some more coffee. I'll be back.
I need a new one.
NWN5MHZ working on the side.
Hey, Brad.
Y'all look out.
Hello there, Brad.
Hey, Brad.
I made a double. I said, I'm going to get some coffee. I'll be back.
Hello, Mr. Bradley. What's happening in Meridian?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Steve. He's the one that gets out and about. I just hide a lot.
He needs to take you under his wing and let you ride with him.
Oh, that's dangerous. You
I
might
didn't
buy
say it was
something.
safe.
You don't want to go ride with Daddy Rabbit?
I've been there, and I bought stuff. That's dangerous.
Oh, well, I ain't never rode with him, see, I don't know.
Hey,
He might
Steve?
start the meter running,
Yes,
too.
sir.
I know he'll sell you some.
Sounds good, Brad.
Yeah. All them little pieces of equipment I bought from you is all hooked up now.
Well, good. I saw that picture. It looks nice.
Yeah, I was up on 10 meters, and it was, I was driving a little harder than I'm driving it now, and it was pushing out a little over 500 watts, almost 600.
Good deal. Well, it's working.
You sell quality, don't you, Daddy Rabbit?
That's right.
I got no complaints.
Thank you, sir.
I just need a SM20.
You don't miss ship you want.
No, I'm just pulling your leg. Tried to reach around you and get something, but I didn't make it.
Yeah, I'd rather ship than have it shoplift.
Shoplift or back of the truck lift?
Yeah, same thing. That was my shop that day.
You ain't everybody think I'm a shoplifter.
Well, I ain't caught you yet, so you're not really.
Okay.
You're a fondler of the microphone.
But you know, now if these meters on top of these other things, arrested, this, that, and the other, oh Lord, it's gonna be a Noah's problem to find, ain't it?
He went to get coffee.
Oh, I guess I can't talk to him. I can't remember that far back. What's that been, 45 seconds?
A couple of minutes.
Well, that's all the memory I got, I guess.
Your RAM is used up.
Been rammed, ain't it?
Yep.
Well, I wish I could find this F9 noise level I've got on 80 meters. If it dropped back to an S5, I'd be real happy.
I'll buy you a S9.
I got one.
Yeah, my noise level's S9 as well.
I'm 30 over.
Did you, Bobby, did you hear Watt talking about how much energy is being emitted from that one up there in Savannah, Tennessee? He's been out there today.
Yeah, I heard that. That's scary.
300 microvolts, and the sensitivity on them flex radios that guy's using is 0.3 microvolts. That's 1,000 times. That guy's basically unusable. But I don't have to tell you nothing about it, you know. I better go get me some coffee. What the heck?
Yeah, I'd recommend it. I put my other 590 on the four-wheeler and rode the power line for 2 hours today. Did not find anything suspicious.
Well, I think they're going to come back probably to this seminar, and they're going to be all trained up on how to find, the actual power line noise that's caused by an arc or a surge suppressor or something like that. But, they're going to ultimately find out that that's going to be the minor problem. That if they got the switching power supply problems in their electronic or their smart meter bases, oh man.
And them things are everywhere.
Yeah, and you can understand why it's real efficient. They can get rid of people and get rid of machines, if they put those things in. So here's where we pay for all of that, I guess.
Let me tell y'all what I know about those meters. Polk County used me as a guinea pig because I had called them about noise problems I hear when it was just regular old conventional meters in. And Bob Edwards from Polk County called me one day, and he said, we want to use you as a guinea pig. He said, we got a new meter that we want to put in your house, on your house. And he explained what it was. He said it takes the data over the power lines. He said they call it a crawl system. He said it's real low frequency. He said it's real slow. He said the data moves real slow. He said it takes like 24 hours or something to read off these meters. Well, and he said, if we want to put it in, if you have any noise problem, I want you to let us know. Well, they come put it in, no noise problem. Anyway, about 3 years later, he called me and he said, we're going to take that meter out and put another one in. He said that company had to buy all those meters back. There was problems with them. So they put this new one in. And I don't know just exactly how it works, but he said that old one that was read over the power lines, he said was real low frequency, and he said it would go right through a transformer. And I couldn't argue with him because I didn't know. But this new one, I don't know what frequency it works at.
Did it cause any problems?
When he put it in, it never caused no problems. Now, that may have been where my noise was here a while back. It could have been that meter. Something could have went south in that little old power supply in there and started causing it.
Well, they could have swapped it out, and you might not have been there to even know it.
Well, that's true. They could have. I hadn't looked at the meter to see.
Well, they all look alike. I don't know how you'd even know.
I don't know either. I guess I could go out there and write the number down on the meter and record it somewhere, and if they swapped it out, the number's going to change with the meter.
10-5 EGK.
K5TFD.
10-5 RNL.
10-5, I'm okay.
K5 DAD. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Bubba.
M5 MHZ.
Good evening there, Steve. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Hello, everybody. Chuckle. I'm glad you got your antennas back up.
Yeah, we back up now.
K5EGY. Hey, Lee.
Hey, cuz.
Feel good.
Hey, Lee.
Hey, everybody. K4WRF. What, Meister?
What's right. They got rid of all the meter readers and they sold all the trucks.
I got one of them meters on my house. I think they read your meter from their central office now, don't they?
Yeah, they can. They cut your power off from up there, too.
Absolutely.
Ours comes out of New Orleans.
What we get talking about, they'll cut us off. Huh?
Yeah, you better be careful. I sent out a video here a minute ago. I don't know who all got it, but I'll put it up on that. I'll put it up on that Facebook website too if I can get it there. Let me know, Chuck, you and Niles, if you got that, let me know.
I got you there with your machine. Yes, sir, I got it.
I haven't got it yet. Stuff's slow coming in here.
What? That thing making a racket.
Well, I switched the thing to the external antenna, which cut the internal loop antenna, because Ron asked me, he says, what do you think we ought to be hearing? And I said, this is what you ought to be hearing.
Was that at your place, what?
No, that's out there at that contest station.
Oh, yeah, I got you now.
And old Ron is pretty dang sharp, ain't he?
I got it.
That is sitting up on top of the meter is down in that inside of that wooden box. I'm on the other side of it. That's just sitting with the thing sitting up there on top of the meter-based box, which is surrounded by a wooden box.
That thing's got that meter pegged out.
And if you go inside where the distribution box is in there, you get that same level all across there. Those conductors come down and through all of the breakers and everything. So that's what's on the power.
Riding on top of it.
Man, that's awful.
That's a little over about 1 1/3 millivolts. That's about 1/3 millivolts. And what do you say, Chuck? I forgot again. But what those Flex radios? What is the sensitivity to the front ends on those things?
Well, they're about 0.25 microvolts to up to 3 microvolts, which is about minus 125 dBm, 128 somewhere in there. That's their standard receiver. And if you got 300, good God. No wonder he can't hear anything. And did you say it's right around 3.6 megacycles in the 75 band?
Yeah, I would have measured up there, and the meter don't go up above 5 megahertz.
And there's 300 microvolts.
Yeah, if you go around and put it right in front of the meter, and if you stick that loop antenna inside of the box, it's 300.
But if it's on your house wire or wire, it's going everywhere.
And they say, well, it's everywhere, and I said that's because it's everywhere.
Well, what? I'm just thinking about something. All right, they make a device that you can hook, say, if it's all on one common meter, power meter, that you can have 2 buildings, and you can put Wi-Fi traveling across the wire to go out to another building, and sometimes it doesn't work. Now I'm wondering if that's why.
Well, could that not desense the Wi-Fi radio?
Well, I mean, I think it's the communication between the Wi-Fi radio and the host radio, but it's traveling over the Romex. But we don't know what means it is communicating on the back side of that thing, because you know the customer part is the Wi-Fi, but what's going between them, we don't know. But now I'm beginning to think that might have had something to do, because some places they work, some they don't.
Well, if you go in there, he's got, like I said, very sophisticated. That place is amazing. But I mean, he's got it's one of these USB spectrum analyzers in there. It's broad as daylight. But I mean, you can you can see each one of those little harmonics of that thing coming down. I mean, it is have you ever seen what one of those switching power supplies looks like on one of those things, you know, on a waterfall display?
Not really.
You know what, it's these little bands that are coming around, and they're sitting there kind of just waffling around in frequency a little bit. You know, there's a little FM modulation going on with them, and you know, it just sits there and wanders around, but you can see those things are everywhere.
I wonder if it's got so many strange things we hear on HF down in the 80-meter band.
I don't know, but I tell you, it's getting kind of suspicious, ain't it?
In other words, you could pull the meter at that location and that noise would be gone, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do next. Is they're going to he's going to go back to them and see if they won't bring one of the old meters out there.
Well, they could bring it out there and just plug it up.
Yeah, they can bypass that meter. You know, I mean, if they wanted to, they could probably, you know, charge him based on what his estimate is over what he's been using over the past number of years. You know, and do away with that problem completely.
Well, they could read it every once in a while.
Well, I think this is about to get real interesting. I think it is.
Sounds like it. I'm real interested in some coffee. I'll be right back in 5VGK.
Come on back.
Now, you were talking a minute ago about some things that you ran into on the some of those smart meters you run in. Repeat that again, if you don't mind.
On those smart meters, the first one, they used me as a guinea pig, because they knew that I was sensitive to noise out here. And he called me one day and wanted to try a new meter on my house. He said, "You're the first one that's going to get one, and we're going to see what it does." He said, "It shouldn't affect you any, because," he said, "the frequency is really, really low." And they called it a crawl system. He said, "It takes that thing about 24 hours to read your meter." He said, "It's constantly sending that data." And he called me one day and wanted to try a new meter. He said that signal would go through a transformer because of it being such low frequency. He said it shouldn't affect you any. I couldn't argue with him because I didn't know. But I know that about 3 years later he called me and said, "We're going to put another meter in out there at your place. You're going to be the first one to get it." And I said, "Well, what happened to the old ones?" He said, "Well, they had problems with them." And he said the people that built the meter has got to buy all these back. And he put the second one in, and it was a different system. It was supposed to be faster. And they can turn your power and all off with the meter that's in there now. They had problems. I never had any interference off of that meter. The people that built the meter has got to buy all these back. And he put the second one in, and it was a different system.
What it looked like, these things
it was
run
supposed to be
around
faster. And they can turn
RF
your power and all off
they're
with the
working
meter that's in there now. They had problems. I never had any interference off of that meter. The people that built the meter has got to buy all these back. And he put the second one in, and it was a different system. It was supposed to be faster.
There's no RF sticker on it or Part 15 allowance. But, you know, I mean, those things, they move around according to this guy out there. They're spread spectrum, and they change frequencies, hop around in frequencies to do that, and I think that part of it probably works all right. But you know, it comes down. The funny thing, it comes down to just the stupid switching power supply that they got on it. But a lot of this work, you know, that they're saying they're having to do now to mitigate RF is not necessarily because of subscriber ham radio complaints or radio complaints or anything, but you know, they're having trouble getting that data going back through a system that's got a lot of power line noise, or you know, impulse generated noise, leaking surge suppressors, or bad hardware, or street lights that aren't working right. So they're having to go after those, you know, because they're having trouble reading those meters.
Yeah, the noise is eating their signal up. It's coming out of the meter.
K5ICO.
K5DAD.
K5TFD.
N5,
N5R now.
N05A.
N5EGK.
Good VJ1.
I wonder if you could hold a frequency counter up to that meter watt and see the actual RF that's coming out of that thing.
Oh, he can. He can see the carriers coming out of it.
So you could actually take a spectrum analyzer right there and put it up next to put an antenna up next to the meter, and you could actually see the frequencies changing on the meter, couldn't you?
Yeah, you can. He can from inside the building. There's some concern that I've read about late this afternoon on the internet about these things, about the power level, you know, or the compliance because of the power level that they're putting out, and that makes me also wonder, you know, that could be part of what's exacerbating the problem with those little switching power supplies. You know, of course, you would think that thing might be overloaded.
Well, what kind of power level does the meter put out?
I have no idea. But apparently, looking at from what he says out there and looking at it, it's on all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Well, you know, this substation down here that belongs to Fort County, they put one of them big metal poles up out there, and it's got seems like it's a couple of antennas on it, and a microwave dish. They're not reading that over the power lines. They're reading that direct, are they not, over the air?
Yeah, and they're reading it off of 900 megahertz or whatever that is.
Can I ask Steve a question, or we might go to a different frequency? Steve, I want to tell you a question.
By all means, come in here, break the monotony of all this, please. Pick one.
Daddy Steve.
Where'd you go, Daddy-O?
Hey, Ladine, Bruce is looking for you on 28.
All right, thank you. I guess Steve left. K5RTO. See y'all later.
Steve probably got tired of hearing about all these meters.
I had to run his bike, but I'm back now in 9JOF.
All right,
Well,
Jim.
I know it's about putting me to sleep. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I got up mighty early today, so y'all have a good one. I'll catch y'all tomorrow, baby. KG5 PBJ, shutting her down.
All right, Keith, have a good evening.
Good night.
73, Keith.
Good night, Keith.
Good night, Keith.
Thank you, Keith.
Good night over there, Keith. Sorry we put you to sleep, but you probably need a good night rest anyway. K4WRM.
Yeah, good night, Keith. I'm here now, and I'll wake you up if you want to stay. Hello, everybody. WJ5K.
Hey, Rob. Hey, Rob.
Hello, Ron.
What are you doing?
I don't know what I'm doing. I just came down here to see what y'all is doing.
Rob,
Hey,
you
Rob.
may be overdriving just a touch.
Who is?
You?
Okay.
Did you get that video now?
Yes, I did.
That ought to be better.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot better.
I got to remember I don't talk in this mic like I did the other one.
Oh, that one's sensitive, isn't it?
It sure is.
Sure, yeah.
Shaw. It's sort of nice not having it up against my nose.
Yeah, that sounds so much better.
It's just getting used to it now.
I understand. I really do. Yeah, I seen that. I seen that one. That had that meter pegged, didn't it?
Yeah, I had it on a lower sensitivity. It was right at the edge of having to go up one, but it was reading most consistently on that particular level.
And that meter reads in microvolts.
Yeah, it'll read anywhere from down in the microvolt range all the way up. The maximum is 10 volts.
Man. And what range was that on?
You mean frequency?
No, the microvolt range.
100 microvolts.
Oh, okay.
And that was that was a few feet above where the meter is, so that's kind of just free space. If I take it around and put it directly in front of the meter, it was up on the 1 millivolt scale.
That's a lot.
That's that instrument is made by Potomac Instruments, and it's what we used to use to do AM field strength measurements, with, or measure directional array monitor points, or do an analysis to find out what ground soil conductivities are in places like that. So it's real good. It ain't got an AGC in it. It's got pretty wide dynamic range, so it suits itself real good for that.
That's a pretty handy piece right there, isn't it?
That meter is probably 35 years old. I've had it a lot. They don't make those anymore. The thing that they make to replace it, of course, they don't sell many of them anymore. The thing they make to replace it now is about $20,000. And somebody said, "Are you gonna get one of those?" And I said, "No. When this one finally breaks, that'll be the end of me ever doing that type of stuff anymore. I don't do much of it anymore anyway."
Is that a solid state device?
Yeah, it is. It's discrete, mostly discrete devices in it. It's got a comparator oscillator in it that you can do an internal calibration each time. If you want to, each time you make a measurement, you can go in there and compare it to the end null against set the level, balance it against this calibrating oscillator that's in there.
And you can tune that thing to a given frequency, right? K5PFD.
K4WRS, yes. You can go anywhere from like 500 kilohertz all the way up to 5 megahertz.
Hello, Bobby.
N5 RF. WJ5K.
Well, that's pretty interesting to me right there now.
thing is getting interesting. But I'm beginning, I don't know if it's you said it, Niles, or somebody talking about it last night, just how much of this noise is out there that's starting to be heard, and this may be a part of it. It won't be all of it.
Well, you know, that little power supply in there is what it's talking about. That thing may run along there for 4 or 5 years and not give any trouble, and something go out in it, and that thing just starts generating noise.
Well, yeah, I mean, things quit. What'd you say, Steve?
I said, I bet the government's got stuff out there in the air that they wouldn't even tell us exist.
Oh, I imagine.
Or if you found it that you thought was there.
Yeah, I'm like you, Chuck. The FCC's probably going to get involved in this before it's over with.
Yeah, and power company's probably afraid of that. But it ain't just limited to here.
No, they're using them things all over the country.
Oh, yeah.
Probably the best thing is sliced bread in that industry.
But I tell you what, when that guy at TVA, when I asked him how they got into this, he told me that it was on account of those meters, that they couldn't hear them because of noise that was already out there, and they started to work on that about 10 years ago, and they got that cleaned up. Well, now they've introduced a new problem. So all that money they save firing everybody and selling the trucks, they're going to have to spend fixing it.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's kind of strange about my noise. That went on for a couple of years. And then all of a sudden I come in here one day and turned it on and it was gone.
Maybe something blew up.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to explain what happened, but I mean, it went from a 15 to a 20 over noise level down to an S3.
Well, you
I've
know,
been complaining about this
guy up there in New York I've been up there trying to help with. It just seems like it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Well, now this may be why it's everywhere.
Up there, and it ain't down here.
You don't believe what you say?
I said, I've had that noise, but noise in my radio I've complained about for 2 or 3 years, and y'all say y'all's radio was just quiet. You blame it on my antenna and all of it. They have anything else, just do something. I've got this noise down here that I've had for 2 or 3 years. Y'all just get me.
No, I don't think I blamed it on your antenna, but I know you've been battling noise.
Well, I've had them guys tell me, well, I ain't got a bit of noise. I don't know why I used to have any noise down there, but I had the noise, but y'all didn't believe me. But now I guess you see it's everywhere.
Yeah, I believed you. I believed that you had noise. I just didn't. There was nothing I could do to help you, though. I had it too.
Yeah, I've had one of those new meters out here for a good 2 or 3 years on my house. I don't know if that's where it's coming from or not. If I thought it did, I'd take it down and go out there and shoot it off the wall. These transformers is what I'm having noise with. I drive up one of these transformers there in my pickup out there down on the north side of AM, and that noise will go slam out of sight.
It's only gonna get harder, what? That's the sad part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, the first time I called Fort County about this noise, I got a hold of somebody there in the office, and he said, we can't do anything about any noise. I said, well, you can. I said, especially if I get the FCC involved, you can do something about it. And then that's when the next day, he took my number down, and the next day, Bob Edwards in the meter department called me, and he said, we want to come out there and try to help you find that noise. I said, yes, sir, I wish you would. Anyway, me and him hit it off real good. And he said, the guy told me that you could get the FCC involved. I said, I don't want to deal with the FCC if I don't have to. He said, well, I just want to tell you that you're right. He said, and we don't want to deal with them either.
Yeah, they knew you was right.
Yeah, he did. You know, the guy that I got a hold of the first time, he may have been the one that was emptying the waste cans in there. You don't know.
He might have been.
Well, how do you get somebody to do something about these meters? The power company? Is it complain to the power company or what?
That's where you start.
I mean, these transformers, I'm sorry.
That's where you start.
Well, I got two pretty good friends. I got one of my best radio friends, Ben Roy Myers. His son-in-law works for MP&L. Been with him about 25, 30 years. I may get on with him and get him over here and ride him around.
Well, he needs to get their engineer, because that's the guy that can get some help. Who's your power? Who do they buy their power from?
Energy, I guess they make their own Mississippi. Well, it used to be Mississippi Power. Right, now it's Energy out of New Orleans.
Probably see if they got an local engineer. They probably do.
Well, they got used to have an office right here just across the yard from me. That's on the next corner over here. But it's closed down. All that's there now is a small substation and supplies. They got keep the trucks in there and the poles and all kinds of stuff in behind the building. There's a pretty good size lot back there. They got it full of equipment and stuff. But I catch that supervisor there once in a while. I try to catch him coming out there.
You know, Chuck, that's the biggest problem right there to start with, is getting a hold of somebody that knows what you're talking about.
It's like my doctor told me. We was over there yesterday, and he was calling an insurance company, talking to somebody. He said, do you have any medical training? No, I'm just filling in today, answering the phone.
Well, there you go.
And that's the kind of thing you wind up with. You know, somebody don't know nothing, ain't got no business talking to you about it. They don't know.
Well, you probably remember back here when I lived over the middle part of the state, I had a lot of problems, and I knew it was coming out of Charter Cable or Spectrum over there. And every time I would call up one of their customer service people, you know, you would get this. They didn't know what you were talking about, and they would tell you, no, we don't have anything to do with radio. Our stuff is all over cable, and you could not explain. Well, no, it's part of your distribution system. And I said, can I talk to somebody? Can I talk to the next layer of management? I never could get to that level. You know, I'd always get brushed off, and so finally, I called up the FCC and explained. I filed a complaint online basically with them, and within a day, I got a call back from somebody out of the Wireless Telecommunications Bureau out there in Gettysburg. You know, and they said they had sent a message to their people. I got a call from somebody from Spectrum up in the Washington, D.C. area that said, you know, you'll get a call from this person, you know, real soon. And like when I hung up with him, you know, that guy was on the phone right then, and he was more than ready to help.
K5 TFD.
So what I'm saying is that they are to some degree responsive, on that stuff. And if you file a complaint, but the guy then called up and said, I wish you hadn't called the FCC on them. I said, I could not get your customer service people to give me the time of day. All I got was double talk from them or condescension or something like that. Nobody wants to hear that. But I mean, it was about 3 or 4 days after that. I told them where the problem was, and they sent a lineman out there, and he couldn't fix it. And the engineer one of the engineers showed up out there, and said it's probably a switching power supply. And so the lineman said, "Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with it." And the engineer said, "Just change the power supply out." And so he did, and the problem went away.
They done the same thing here, what? I had a noise problem, and I called Fort County, and they come out, and I said, I'm not sure that it's not coming out of this cable box right here with this power supply in it. And he took that little parabolic dish and aimed it at that box, and he said, my gosh, he said, yeah, that's exactly where it's coming from. He said, hold on a minute. Well, he had the number of the engineer at the cable company. He called the engineer, and it wasn't 15 minutes till the engineer and a cable guy come out here, and they swapped the power supply out on this box out here, this switching power supply, and he said that ought to fix it. But when you get one engineer talking to the other one, they respond.
The key is getting to the right starting point.
That's what you got to do, and that's the hardest thing in the world to do is get to that starting point.
They very rarely ever hear complaints like that, and they don't have a category. Most power companies don't have a category to put that in. The main gist of the calls that they get is that the power's off.
Yeah, but that's been a while back. Times has changed, and they got more problems now than they used to have.
Could I ask a question?
I don't know, can you?
May I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
When we ID, why can't we wait till everybody IDs before everybody picks the conversation back up?
I give up. Why?
Well, because when you did ID, you ID'd and Watt ID'd and went right back to your conversation. Nobody else could ID.
I apologize for that, Lee. That's probably my fault. K4WRF. Go right ahead.
No, I just said that. It's been going on. I've been able to say something about it, but I just hadn't said anything. And right now, I think it'd be a good time to break in. Everybody's talking, and when you ID'd, whoever's holding the conversation goes right back on with the conversation and asks the people on the air here is not ID'd yet. And I've just noticed it there lately, so I just thought I'd make a comment.
Well, Lee, you can ID whether somebody's talking or not.
That's the way I've always felt about it. I've got to transmit my ID. Nobody's actually got to receive it.
Yeah, I just jump in sideways somewhere.
Oh, you don't have to you don't have to, you can just talk into the mic with anybody talking or not in the ID, huh?
Yeah, just ID.
So that way you don't know whether anybody ID'd or not. Okay.
N5 Arnold.
I don't know, Daddy Rabbit, where are you?
I'm right here.
K5 RKO. You want to run down to 3828 minutes? I want to see if you got something.
Okay. K5DAD, QSY.
K5 RKO.
That radio's done quit.
Oh, no.
Railroad.
Well, it's a fact that a lot of this noise has been created by switching power supplies. It's just gone crazy. It's happened out here before, and they put a new one in, and it does just fine. I don't know what goes wrong with it, but something goes wrong with it, and it can go wrong with them in those meters too. I can understand that. You know, I had a wall wart at one time. It had a switching power supply in it, and it was quiet and worked just fine for a long time, and then all of a sudden it started generating noise. And I went around, I couldn't get out too much, but I could hear it in the house on my receivers in there. And I went around and found it and unplugged it, and it quit. And I replaced it with a wall wart that had the same voltage. That was an analog supply in it, and that cured that. But you know, they can just be going along there just fine, and all of a sudden just go crazy.
Hey, Robert.
Yes, sir.
You remember that me and you hunted up at Area 51, hunted and thought it was a TV station, blinkers and all that, and turned out to be a Apple wall wart charger in the building with us.
I do indeed.
We hunted now.
Do they still make Western Digital hard drives, external hard drives?
I think so.
Well, I had one of those things years ago. It was like, it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it's a terabyte, you know, and the thing stood there. It's plugged into the access from anywhere. But anyway, that thing sat back there in the back behind my desk. It got pushed out. I started this horrible noise problem. I was about ready to brain all over the power company, so I started looking into it. But I could hear that darn thing 2 blocks from my house. And so I decided one day, I said, well, before I call power company, I'm going to isolate everything in my house. So I went over and pulled the main circuit breaker, and the noise went away. Well, I knew right then. Well, after a few more days of searching around, I finally found that darn thing, and it was this dead-gum little wall wart power supply.
They can get nasty now.
K5DAD.
K5BGK.
K4WRL.
N5RL. Y'all early. WG5K.
Yeah, all I did was ID.
Go ahead, Lee. There's your shot.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Lee, what's going on down your way tonight?
Everything's glory. I mean, it's real good. We had some good news come back from the doctor's office yesterday. Miss Barbara is clear of her virus, her poison in her system. But everybody praying and all for it, I appreciate it.
Oh, man, yeah. I tell you, I heard you say that last night. It made me real happy to hear.
Yeah, you just need to fatten her up now, Lee.
Oh, we had a good day today. For lunch, we had cottage cheese and peaches. Had a big old bowl full, and then we had sausage and taters and onions and green beans cooked up in the pan by themselves in the oven. So I'm on the road.
There you go. K5TFD.
I know she's happier, too. K5DAD.
N5K.
N5BGK on time.
N5RL.
N5JOL.
That sounded good. I'm glad she's doing better there, Lee. K4WRF.
Hey, Robert.
Yes, sir.
Did they I'm not being funny, but did they give you that shot in the arm or the hip?
In my right shoulder.
In your shoulder. Well, all right. That thing hurt, huh?
Yeah, I got a big old cone over there.
Doggone.
What kind of shot you get?
Shingle shot.
Oh, a shingle shot. Okay.
Is Medicare taking care of that yet? Yes, sir.
Oh, they are?
Do that too.
They are taking care of it, Robert?
Well, mine is. taking care of it. They pay for all of it.
Yeah, but that's a supplement. What about Medicare? Does it take care of it?
Well, see, I don't use Medicare anymore. They, Aetna Freedom gets it, and I've just got Aetna Freedom. It don't cost me anything. Go just like I went down there to Red Med yesterday. It didn't cost me anything. That comes out of your Social Security payment, doesn't it? Yeah, what do they call that? Medicare Advantage. Yeah. A lot of healthcare systems will not accept that.
Well, they want me to take a pneumonia shot and a flu shot and all that, and I don't know. I probably will eventually.
Well, I don't have to pay for any. I've not had to pay any for those flu shots or those. Back a few years back, pneumonia. I had that shingle shot. I need to go get that, but they keep pushing me to do it. But that well, you pay for it. I mean, it comes out of your Medicare payment that you make, but it's I don't have to come out with no money out of pocket.
Well, about $200, isn't it?
Last I heard, that's what it was $200.
Yeah, Medicare and the supplements weren't taking care of it last I heard. And then somebody told me a week or so ago to go get it because it was being taken care of now. I was just wondering.
I have a technical question.
All right, y'all stand by. Go ahead, Dean. I'll handle it.
K5RKO. For years and years now, never asked anybody, but I hear people talking about receiving and they transmit on one ear on the other. How do you do that? Do you have to work split on your radio or what?
Go ahead, Watt. I just get tired of people not asking me.
I don't know.
Hey, Ladine,
What?
this 7610 Icon's got two antenna ports back there. You receive on one, transmit on the other.
That's what you got to have, Ladine.
Okay, well, this Icon got, 2 ports. Well, it's got 3, but one of them for 2 meters or something. But, okay, well, if you don't have 2 antenna inputs, how do you work it?
Well, I don't think you can because it's called diversity. But you can transmit on one, receive on the other, but there's 2 separate antenna ports. And this radio, you tell it to do diversity, but there's a lot of radios that got that.
I guess you could use like a TR switch and do it.
Yeah, this one's got 4 antenna ports on it.
That's a more expensive radio.
You, Steve, don't have but 1.
I know it, and it wouldn't have had that if they couldn't leave the clock off. They had to do away with the clock and
well, I've just
the
wondered that. I hear
that extra antenna.
I'm going to get some of this too while everybody is.
I'm telling you.
That's
Let's
a
all
good
jump in
idea.
there, guys.
Man, it's something else.
Clearly have a
That was a sextant, wasn't it?
2 antenna ports there, so I didn't know. That was a train wreck.
I'm telling you.
Well,
I had to
don't
get some of
down
that.
to nothing. I'll just go to bed.
Don't go to
can't
bed.
Ladine. You can't go to bed.
Ladine pulled the trigger too quick.
Yeah, I couldn't be using box like it should be.
All my radios are too old to have more than 2 ports on them.
Well, Bobby, don't the 590S and the 590SG have like a RCA jack back there that you can use for just a receive antenna?
Yeah, I know the S does. I'm not sure about the SG, K5 out there.
Yeah, I was thinking that the S did.
Well, that's that rig like you got, Niles, it doesn't, does it?
No, mine don't do it.
The 7300 doesn't do it either. You have to. There is a option you can install in the 7300 to make it do it, but your 7610 does. The 590 SG has separate receiver antenna ports, and that's how you do it.
Okay, well, I'm all right. I just wondered.
There is a mod that you can do to this 850 to do that with, and I don't think it's too much to it, really, but there is a mod you can do to it to make it do that.
Well, why can you not, split, work split?
You can work split on the 850.
Yeah, you can work split. You got to push the split button and set your VFO to what frequency you want to transmit on, and the B VFO on what frequency you want to receive on, or vice versa. Doesn't matter which way you go.
Well, what about the time lapse in between the two? Can you adjust that?
There's not one, I don't guess.
All right, I appreciate it. I won't bother you on more about that. I just have often wondered, never had asked anybody.
Well, most of your DX stations, your big DXpeditions and stuff, all work split. They'll say we'll be on 3846 working up 5. So they'll be listening up on 3851, so or 52. So there you go.
All right, Ladane, you on the just to the right of the VFO on that 850, you see up there where it says function, and you drop down 2 buttons, and it's got RX. Right there is where you set your split up.
Oh, on A will be.
No, right there where it says RX and TX, you can set your receive to one thing and you transmit to something else.
Oh, okay, I see it now.
Yeah, I've worked split on this one before.
All right, then. I appreciate it. I was thinking about building me a receiving antenna. For this band, or maybe they may have a you build it kit or something like that to just receive on HF. I don't know.
Well, now that won't allow you to receive on one antenna and transmit on the other. It's going to allow you to receive on one frequency and transmit on another frequency on the same antenna.
Oh, okay. Now I want to make a little antenna to get out of noise and stuff. I know people that do that, and just never had asked.
I've got one, Ladine.
You got one?
I got a receive antenna operating on mine now.
Okay, how are you working it?
I've got the port in the back that's for the receive only.
Oh, okay. Well, I had never searched that out. I guess you could use one of those pins. What kind of rig you got?
I got a Yazoo 101D.
K5 TFD.
WJ5K.
K5RK.
5EGK.
And
5K, and anybody can hear me.
K4WRF. I hear you, Doug. N9JOL.
I can't hear you, Doug.
Now, what you can do, Ladine, is you can put a TR switch back there on your radio, and when the radio is not keyed, it's going to that one side of that TR switch is going to your receive band. When you transmit, it switches over and goes on through your linear amplifier and out to your transmitting antenna. You can do it that way.
Roger. My little dog back here whining. He needs to go out. I'll see y'all later, K5RKO.
All right.
You better go let him out.
I think I will.
I think I'm whining. 73, Ladine. Yeah, these new rigs make it easy to do that, but it's not easy with old rigs.
No, it's all built into the new ones.
Yep, it's all there. All you got to do is tell it to do it.
I'm surprised that 7300 don't do it.
Well, you can put that, there's a board you can put in, and it costs about $250, I think, for the board to make it do it. But it's what people use for the, when they put the monitor where it can be on a monitor, the waterfall on the monitor, and it uses the SDR receiver for it. But nothing I want to do. Ray Denton did it to his 7300.
Yeah, I thought he did.
But like Robert on that 101, all he's got, and Chuck has the same thing with the 7610. They have a port for that receive antenna. It's easy. Well, maybe not easy, but still, it is easier than not.
Yeah, these things, they do it easy.
Yeah, this one does, and it will not let you transmit. The radio will not transmit on that receive antenna.
Yeah, Robert.
It do.
Dang smart.
What do you call it? Diversity or something with that when you set that up?
Yeah, you do. But you'd be surprised, of course, you got to have you need stereo where you can really listen to it on your headset. But you'd be surprised what you hear on one antenna and not on the other, listening to the same thing, and then it's swapping back and forth. I mean, it's amazing what these bands do.
What amazes me is your son working CW, working two different bands at one time.
He darn sure does it.
My mind just don't do that.
You know, that's one thing that you could do with these old Collins R390s. You could take a pair of them and set them up in a rack, and you could hook them up for crew diversity and run two different antennas on two different receivers, and whichever one was receiving the signal the best, that's the one that come in. And it got rid of most of the selective fading.
You know, Daddy-O, you still here?
Yeah, K5DAD.
Yeah, that Yaesu 5000, FTDX 5000 had 4 receive antennas on it.
Roger that.
That radio was just too big for my head.
Yeah, it was.
I have trouble listening to, you know, when you do tracking on this thing and you can do different bands. Of course, everybody can do different bands, but dang, I can't listen to just so much.
Which radio was that, Chuck?
7610.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's got tracking. You can have it A and B VFO follow each other.
Does that radio have synchronous detection for AM too?
I don't know that. I never tried it, but I tell you what, it's you can have radio 2 on antenna 2, radio 1 on radio 1, antenna 1, and tracking, and it dials them both, but on 2 different antennas. Pretty sharp.
That's the way this 101 is.
I would expect so. What it cost?
Yeah.
And folks think 7610, 27300's in a box. It's really not.
No, it's a whole different beast from what I'm reading.
And Daddy Rabbit, Dad, you guys got 4 of them.
Yeah, I can't even see them back there. So far, I'm looking at the front.
Stick your finger back here and see where the juice is. Lick it first, though.
I double.
Lick your finger first, Daddy Rabbit, then stick it in there.
I can find it then.
Yeah.
I know I found it.
You got 4 7610s?
No. Got 4 antenna ports.
Oh, okay.
What the model back on?
7800.
Woo!
How many receive ports
Rob.
you got?
Double.
Hey, Rob.
Surprise me.
That's that high dollar one now, is it, Rob? High dollar.
$5 radio.
Yeah, how many receive ports does it have?
I don't know. I had to get my book out.
You ain't gonna turn it around and count them?
I ain't ate my Wheaties this morning. That takes a lot to slide that radio forward.
I got him all he's on out and go help Miss Barbara. She out of there. She got some help or something. So I'm going to get in there and be with her a while. Enjoy it tonight. Y'all take care. K5EJY.
That's right, Lee. Go in there and help her. Anyway, have a good evening.
See you, Lee. Good night, Lee.
Lee. I'm glad she's doing better.
Good night,
73, Mr. Lee.
Good to hear the news there, Lee. Have a good night, 73. K4WRF.
Ain't gonna be long. Like I've had a long day dealing with power companies, antennas, etc.
I'm going at 9:30.
I am too. Out of here.
Hey, Niles, did Chuck tell you what when he went off there this morning? The power company was out there cutting his antennas down.
Yeah, he told me, he sent me pictures of it.
In my yard.
Hello, radio.
And doing it in my yard too.
But they was nice about it. They fixed them back for him.
They sure did.
And they all became friends.
And had lunch
Steve
together.
Wells in here.
What?
There's Steve in here. Hello, Steve. Are you poor, Steve? Yeah. Yeah, what?
Doug wants to know if you poor Steve is on frequency.
Yeah, and I'm lurking in the shadows.
You get your radio fixed up today? Did you work on it, Edie?
Did not.
Okay, I thought what might have helped you out.
Oh, yeah, he did.
All right, y'all carry on. Tell them I'll tell you. Rob, it's got 4 antenna ports and 2 receive antenna ports.
Well, you all fixed up, aren't you?
Well, I don't know. I ain't using nothing.
But if you wanted to,
one of them
you
logs
could.
on the ground, antennas on there.
Double.
Whoever double with me, go ahead.
I was telling Steve, Daddy Rabbit, that he needs to put him one of them logs on the ground, antennas on there.
K5TFD.
And 5VGK.
That's what Chuck had this morning, antennas on the ground.
You dang right I did.
Well, everybody needs their antennas well grounded, don't they, K4WRF?
Joe do.
K5DAT. It's got 4 accessory sockets.
Hey, now,
Yes, sir.
I think what they're afraid of, they didn't even think about this. Had that wire got into that 7200, it went straight in this house, and then we'd had some talking.
Oh, yeah.
You can burn a house down doing that.
Well, he was wondering. He said it wasn't no wire in that, what he cut.
Yeah, till he got into that number 14, he said, but that's wire right there. They was all standing out there looking at it, pulling the ends tore off and all.
That probably would have took all of the smoke out of your 49 to 1 auto transformer.
You think it'd have ruined my ferrites?
It'd have ruined.
Ain't no,
R-U-I-N-T, ruined them ferrites.
Now it'd be like Bobby with a blowtorch out there under his meter.
That's right.
Be sort of warped.
I got tickled at Chuck this morning. He was talking just fine, and all of a sudden his amp tripped out. He said it again. It tripped out again. He said, "Let me see what's going on." Then he started sending me pictures of the power company cutting his antennas down.
First, he blamed the squirrels for cutting it down. Now,
Yeah, he did.
Well, that's what I thought.
yeah, it was a red truck and a squirrel.
And 2 squirrels in the bucket. And 2 guys, they were young guys, that bucket came down, and he said, "Shit, I knew something would happen." He said, "Wire went to flying." Oh, man.
That's funny.
That's like that TV cable guy that I knew, Chuck. He said, I keep this bucket cleaned out. He said he was telling some of his buddies about it. He said, "You get some dirt in here." He said, "You mess around and get up on something that's got some electricity in it, you'll go to ground and it'll kill you."
With the dirt in it?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. And what did you say?
I didn't say nothing.
You just laughed, didn't you? Get inside dirt on it, yeah.
I'd have said,
I just let it go, what?
If you listen to people, you will be entertained.
Well, he was supposed to know because he worked for the cable.
Hey, what did I tell you about? I was up there at Iuka PD one day working on a radio, and the 8.5 volt regulator had gone out, and there's a guy leaning over there, the policeman told me, said, "Yep, I know what it is. Now, I'm working on a car." He said, "It's that dam up yonder." I said, "What dam?" He said, "Pickwick." He said, "They have to run the voltage up there, get it so high up here in Iuka to get 110 down there at Belmont, so it's burnt that regulator up."
Oh, my.
I just said, uh-huh.
You see, that's the universal answer.
That covers it, don't it?
Yep.
I just stood there and just looked at him.
Sometimes you just can't reason. You know, I mean, you can't. There's no other reply. You know, you can't. There's no logical reply to that.
Well, you couldn't explain it to him if you had a day.
In 2 days.
Yeah.
And it's like any industry. There are some funnies that will happen over the years. You just want to ask them, what? Just where did that come from? And he was serious.
Yeah, all you need to say, let me go to my truck and get my hip waders.
Well, didn't they accuse you one time of stealing the internet with them antennas, Chuck?
My neighbor here has called this guy with the Comcast. That's a good friend of mine. He's an engineer here. They have called him over and over, said he's out there stealing your internet. I know he is. He's got all them wires and this, that, and other. And he said, "Would you quit aggravating that old man? He was wearing my phone out."
You could not convince him, could you?
No. He just knew that's what I was doing. I said, "Well, just go and think it."
Well, sometimes, you know, only readdressed absurdity is even more absurdity.
Well, best thing to do, just don't say nothing else.
Uh-huh.
Except, that covers it. that guy called. I saw that guy about 2 weeks ago. He said, "Are you still aggravating the old man?" I said, "I ain't been out there lately." He said, "Well, that's why my phone ain't ringing."
Yeah,
Were
you stealing his internet.
Well, do what now?
You were stealing his internet.
Yeah, it was Deuce with Comcast, and Deuce messed up one time and let the old man have his cell phone number, and he still got it.
You know, I had a little tower up where I used to live, and I had a neighbor that come over there, and he said, "You're messing my TV up." He said, "That tower is what's doing it." I said, "No, I'm not even transmitting." And he said, "Well, I'm gonna cut that tower down." I said, "I wouldn't advise that." And he said, "Well, I'm gonna call the FCC." I said, "Well, that's the best thing for you to do is just call the FCC."
Uh-huh. Ain't that it? What? Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Now's when this guy was rapping about the leaves over there in his pool. He said, "Well, I'm fixing to come over and cut that tree in your yard." I said, "Don't think so."
Hey, Chuck, it's sort of like Tom Mann, his neighbor, saying Tom's ham radio was making their garage doors go up and down. Tom wasn't even at home.
Uh-huh.
Was his porch light burnt out?
Yep.
Must have been. Didn't he finally go out there and put him a fluorescent light on his antenna so they'd know when he was transmitting?
Yeah, I think so.
So he said, "If it ain't on, it ain't me."
You know, people that don't know any better gets things in their head, and you just can't hardly get it out of it.
It ain't coming out.
What? Yeah, it's sort of like my neighbor that he's deceased, and he moved away several years ago to a nursing home, but he let me put up my tower out here between our houses, and the older he got, the more he got in his head that tower was going to fall on his house, and it worried him to death. Every day he saw me, he said, "That tower's going to fall." So finally I just took it down. I wasn't on the radio much anyway at that time, and I wished I'd never pulled it down.
I wouldn't have took it down.
No.
Yeah.
K5RKO. Heard you talking about that fella. There was a fella he lived higher on the hill across there about a half mile away. And I put that tower up, first 100-foot tower I had. And he called me one day and he said, "I wish you'd come over here and see you fix my TV." So I said, "All right, I'll come over there, you know." And TV antenna is what he had up, you know, like the old. Anyway, he went in and said, "Now, you see how it's doing?" And it was rolling like some of those TVs would. I said, "Yeah, I see that." He said, "Well, it wasn't doing that till you put that big old tower up."
Yeah, and let me tell you this. I had a woman that called me. I was doing some TV work way back yonder. And that's what hers was doing. It was rolling. And I reached back there and grabbed that little potentiometer and went to turning it and stopped it. And she said, wait a minute. One of them pictures was better than the other, so I had to get it unlocked and let it roll through one at a time. She said, "Oh, that and right there, that's the one."
Oh, me.
Uh-huh.
Lord have mercy.
K5TFD.
K5RKO.
Good night, everybody. K5DAD. KM5KM.
Good night.
There's that one right there.
K4WRF. I ain't never heard anything like this before in my whole life.
You know, I never did talk to my Uncle James about it, but I would just like to know some of the stuff that he had to put up with.
I would too. I was thinking that same thing now. after we put that tower up down there in Ackerman, that ETV tower, we got a call from some people down there near Ware. I think that's in Choctaw County too, between Ackerman and Kosciuszko down there. It swore up and down that tower, which is about 15, 20 miles away from their house, caused lightning to strike their TV set and set their house on fire.
I declare.
Why, y'all should have took that thing down.
That was a bad lightning strike, wasn't it?
That was a lightning magnet y'all put up.
Big old lightning magnet.
I'll tell you what, you know, you remember where the old Linda Mood place there was off of 7th Street?
Oh, yeah, big house up there?
Yeah, you know, they built that, you know, the city put that big water tank up right there pretty close to that property.
Yeah, I know where that is.
Well, Mr. Bill McGee lived right there on 7th Street, and he put a TV antenna up, and he could point that TV antenna at that water tank, and you would not believe the channels that he could get.
Well, I've heard of that happening before. You know, those big old reflective service. You know, I remember that tank. I've heard stories about that. Not that particular situation, but I've heard things like that before. I guess it's just like now. Do you remember out there on Ridge Road? Do you know where the cable TV antenna farm used to be out there?
Yes, sir, I do.
And they had those great big old, it was built on creosote poles, if I remember, but they had these great big old screen-backed antennas that was pointed at Birmingham.
I remember that.
Do you remember that?
I do.
And it was all to a focal point out there in front of them, but that's what they used to pick up the Birmingham TV. I think they had another setup pointed toward Memphis.
What was that old woman's name that owned the TV cable?
Oh, Lord.
Boy, she was something to deal with. Travis Neighbors used to work for her.
Now that's the name. That's the guy I was who did that work, and that I thank you. I was searching for that name, but I cannot remember her name.
I'll think of it here in a little bit.
Travis Neighbors. Good grief. They were out there until they built that tower over there off of Waterworks.
Yeah, they cut that tower down here about 3 or 4 years ago, let it fall, and put another one up out there. It's not near as high, but they did put another one up. But they cut that antenna down. It was in bad shape.
That thing had been there a long time.
Yeah, it had. Well, that's what they moved from them. They moved from that creosote pole tower out there on Ridge Road to that one.
Back in the 80s, I was down there and we looked at moving the WACR-FM over there to that tower. I think that's what it was. And I went down there and looked at that darn thing, and this was in the early 1980s, and it was in pretty bad shape then.
Yeah, well, you know, every time it flooded, the water got all around the base of it and all of that, and it got in bad shape, and they knew it was in bad shape. And when Cable One bought out Columbus TV Cable, No, I think Cable One left it up, and when Sparklight bought it, they went out there and cut the guy wires on it and let it fall.
Well, that thing, the time I went out there, I mean, it had so many transmission lines coming off of it. Down there at the bottom of it, it was, you know, it looked like what do they say, looked like a explosion in a spaghetti factory.
That'd be a mess.
You know, it got to where the only thing they were using it for was local TV. You know, everything else they got off satellite. They still got a bunch of satellite dishes out there.
Gosh, the last cable system I had anything, we had a radio station nearby. They used to own radios up in Owensboro, Kentucky, and over the past number of years, I mean, they used to have about 15 or 20 satellite dishes out there in a big old yard. Last time I was out by there, I think there were about 2 of them out there.
What, they getting it through the internet now?
I think they are, yes.
A little bit off cue, but I got a little story for y'all. That'd be all right. That'd be okay.
What was that, Ladine?
I just said it was a little bit off the subject, but talking about how funny people are, I got a little story for y'all.
Let's hear it.
Of course, I was a mechanic, you know, most of my life, and I knew the service manager and, you know, all around Oxford over there. This friend of mine, there was a woman bought a car from the company he drove, that he was service manager. And this woman, everybody knew this woman. She was a pain in the neck, but she bought a new station wagon with a luggage rack on it. Well, at that time, they'd put a little piece of plastic in the end of that kind of a square luggage rack up on top of the station wagon. She said, she'd been up there 2 or 3 or 4 times, and you know, they'd try it. Anyway, she told him, said, now, David, you up on in that rack up there, and you know, grab hold of the sides. And she said, I'm gonna drive down the street here. And she said, they don't have to get up about 20 miles an hour. And he said, okay. So he got on the luggage rack of that car, and she stuck her head out. Can you hear it now? She'd drive about 25, I guess, down through there. And everybody was looking at old David. No, I can't. I ain't heard yet, ma'am. She took off out, we called it the bypass out in Oxford. And she got about 50, 60 to 70 miles an hour with old David riding up on top.
Hey, what?
What possibly could go wrong?
What?
Don't you know he got some look?
Yeah, and he had a head full of hair, and you all seen his hair when he got back.
Miss Polly Dunn.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it.
KPITFD. Guys, it's 9:30. I'm out of here. I'm fixing to go in and take my meds and do my reading and lay my head down. I have really enjoyed it tonight. It's been a lot of fun. But anyway, I'll catch some of you in the morning and some of you tomorrow night. 7 3s, and God bless. KPITFD.
Hold the door. I'm on the way, too. Y'all be good. Talk to you tomorrow. It's 5:50.
All right, guys. I'm going to Chuck. Watch the video. I sent you on the text. WJ5K, good night. Enjoyed it.
Where do y'all gather up in the mornings at?
I don't think they liked your story today.
No, what frequency?
3842.5 there, Ladine.
Oh, I knew that. Yeah, I ran every one of them off.
I think you win the
I tell you
prize.
what, I just don't know.
Now let me ask you, were you the mechanic?
No, it wasn't me. It was the manager at the Ford place. But it wasn't me. Of course, a lot of people saw him, you know. It didn't take long for the word to get around town.
How do you explain something like that is what I want to know.
Do what?
How do you explain something like that? How do you defend an action like that?
He just shook his head and walked off. You know, he was scared, and he says, "I don't want the subject to ever come up again."
Well, you know, the good thing is that he lived to talk about it.
Yeah, that's true. Old David there. Yeah, he's gone now. You used to when he'd come to work, he'd save some cornbread, and he would feed it to sparrows, you know. But then I could look up at the light poles and the light wires, and I could tell David was just about at work, 'cause there were just jillions of those things. You get out of the truck just slinging bread, you know, back in that parking lot. But he was a pretty good old boy, I tell you. Anyway, y'all have a good night. K5RKO, simply.
All right, good night, everybody. I think I'm going to do the same thing. Been a long day. I sure enjoyed it. Talk to y'all tomorrow. K4WRFQRT. Good night, everyone. Whoever's left, Ladine.
All right, I'm going to grab a cat. He got the rent last night. I'm going to get on out here, too. Y'all have a good one, and I'll try not to dominate the conversation tomorrow night like I did tonight. Everybody take care. 73, N9JOF, clear. I don't think you dominated anything. We'll see y'all later. 73, everybody. Good night. K5RKO gone.